This is Eagle Owl, and today we're gonna go over the camp notes. But before we get into that, we got to talk about CJ Gardner-Johnson going off, mad about his ranking. Nick Sirianni praised some guys, and the guy he praised actually had a big day. But let's get straight into it. All right, man. So let's hop straight into it. So before we talk about the camp notes, I like to talk about the press conference, things that happen before, the training camp and things like that. But let's talk about what Nick Sirianni had to say. And one thing stuck out, and he talked about players like Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith, and also Patrick Johnson. But let me play this clip.
With great detail, great toughness. I've seen the toughness really show up. I'll single out a couple of the defensive ends where I've really seen that toughness really show up. That physical toughness, that relentless effort. Patrick Johnson, Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt. I've really seen them, hustling to the football. Just the relentless effort really and the toughness really shows up with those three guys, and been excited. There is a lot of mixing and matching, and we're trying to get an evaluation on everybody as guys learn how to play together. But I would single those guys out as far as their relentless effort, their toughness that they've been playing.
Interesting, because while a guy like Jalen Hunt, he's a third-round pick, he's not getting talked about a lot, but he is having a good camp. I have to advise you guys of that. He is having one hell of a camp. Nolan Smith, it's been on and off, but with like Lane Johnson being out, and there was a couple guys out on our O-line. I think Landon Dickerson was subbing in and out. So Nolan Smith took full advantage, but just Lane Johnson being out, it was just a total domination by the defensive line. But Nolan Smith, 2 sacks. I believe Milton Williams almost got a sack. Like the D-line was going crazy from basically one guy missing in Lane Johnson. CJ Gardner-Johnson, man. So CJ Gardner-Johnson seen the top 10 safeties that EA ranked, for Madden. And these are the top 10 safeties according to Madden. So they have Jesse Bates, number 1, Anton Winfield Jr. Then you have Mika Fitzpatrick. Then you got Darwin James Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, number 5, number 6, Buda Baker, number 7, Kevin Byard. Wow. Number 8, Kyle Hamilton. Number 9, Hufanga. Then number 10, they have Javon Holland. And CJ Gardner-Johnson felt some type of way. And he spoke his mind. He ain't hold nothing back. And this is what he had to say. Got replaced by number 5, which was Tyrann Mathieu. See where he at now. Number 7 couldn't live up to the hype. That was Kevin Byard. Last year was evidence. The rest, I got way more ball production. So when Madden dropping, oh man, he wanted that smoke. And I knew, I'm like, somebody gonna say something. And Tyrann Mathieu had this to say: I never hated on nobody. That's why I am blessed. He kept it at that. Like, he never hated on nobody, this and that. But he kept going on and on and on. He put out more and more tweets. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, I guess he started seeing this stuff, and he put, if you hate the truth, don't come near me. Look, CJ really wanted smoke, man. CJ did not come to play. And then he put, like, they got my post notifications on. By the way, Kevin Byard did retweet the Tyrann Mathieu, so I guess that was Kevin Byard responding to what CJ Gardner-Johnson was saying. So he had put this out around like 10 o'clock at night, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and then he put, just to be who talking down or another N-word, think he effing with me. He said, to all my critics, 100. So CJ, look, he woke up and he wanted that smoke. He wanted that smoke because he feel disrespected. Like, yo, you got Tyrann Mathieu up there. Like, come on, man. Tyrann Mathieu is not better than CJ Gardner-Johnson at this point in his career. Come on, Kevin Byard. I love Kevin Byard when he was with Tennessee. It wasn't the same, man. Let's be honest. Y'all still consider him a top 10. Why he can't go out there and prove he still got it? But they still say he top 10, so we'll see what he do in Chicago. But he got a point. Like, yo, we called CJ Gardner-Johnson back up to replace you, Kevin Byard. And Saints. Yeah, I called up Tyrann Mathieu to replace CJ Gardner-Johnson, and it's not looking too good. CJ got a point. He just said what any critic could say, but he's actually saying it. So it is what it is, man. Shout out to CJ Gardner-Johnson for keeping it a buck. But let's go over these camp notes. All right. So Tuesday, the Eagles will have on pass, or I should say today, because you guys will see this on Tuesday. So the pass will be on today. With Tyler Steen being out, McKee Becton got the first team reps at guard, like I told y'all he was. You know, some people was calling me out. Shout out to the comments like, yo, how you knew? How you just knew off the rip McKee Becton was gonna be at right guard? I just knew. It was a guess. No insiders. Just Eagle out doing this investigation. I was just saying. So Lane Johnson didn't practice. He had, a minor toe injury. So it gave somebody else another shot or to show what they got at right tackle. So first play on 11 on 11s, Jordan Davis just bulldozing his way. And with that elite speed getting to the backfield, look, haircut Jordan Davis, I'm going to call him fade Jordan Davis, is different. Jordan Davis officially cut the dreads. He got the Ndamukong Suh cut. So he ain't playing. So shout out to Jordan Davis for making a stamp on practice right off the rip. Jalen Hurts did some little unfamiliar things so far. So he had John Ross like wide open, but just missed him. He just missed him. Those things like that is going to happen, but he missed John Ross because the pressure of the D line was getting there. They were getting there, and he missed John Ross on a deep throw. Isaiah Rodgers was with the second team, so I forgot to mention Keely Ringo has been getting that CB2 spot. So it looked like so far it's going to be Keely Ringo's spot, because if you there 3 days in a row to start, even though they mixing in Isaiah Rodgers, but it seemed like it's Keely Ringo's spot to lose so far. But Isaiah Rodgers made a play. He was with the second team. Joseph Nagata had him beat, but Isaiah Rodgers is so fast. His recovery speed got there to get the PBU, and the team got hyped. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So Isaiah Rodgers showing what he got. Fred Johnson, that's who came in for Lane Johnson at that right tackle position, while they had McKee Becton at that right guard position. Devin White and Zach Bond are still the starting linebackers. And like I said, Keely Ringo and Slay are still the starting cornerbacks. Again, Ringo, 3 days in a row. Bradbury and Avonte Maddox were on the second team far as with safeties. Even James Bradbury made some plays, but the thing with James Bradbury is going to be interesting because somebody brought this up. Like, usually when a safety is playing like backup safety, they usually contribute to special teams, but I don't see James Bradbury contributing to special teams. So it's going to be interesting what we do with him, if he make the team or if we cut him or if we trade him. But he's not a special teams guy, or maybe they put him out on special teams to see what he got. But I never seen James Bradbury on special teams, so you guys can educate me on that. I just never seen it. Forgot to mention Saquon was out for personal reasons, so Will Shipley and Kenneth Gainwell been, doing their thing, and Will Shipley had a big day, caught a wheel route. Believe it was like for 20 yards, and he caught another pass. Like, Will Shipley was doing his thing, catching the ball out in the backfield. And that's really good because they don't got on pads. So he can't really run and show, his running skills with no pads. But him catching the ball, showing how dynamic he can be as a catcher out the backfield and also as a runner. So I'm assuming he's going to show more of his running with the pass on. Johnny Wilson, this is something to note. He is getting first team reps. That is real interesting because Johnny Wilson at some points of camp, he was just struggling just a tad bit, but now he's working his way up and getting first team reps. So that's really interesting. Jalen Hurts threw a bomb to Devontae Smith, about 40 plus yards over Avonte Maddox for a touchdown. Jalen Hurts continues to be on fire. Elliott Shore-Parks today gave him a B instead of an A. But Elliott Shore-Parks was fair. He's like, yo, that D-line was just getting there. And like the John Ross thing I mentioned, he completely missed him, but he hit Devontae Smith for a 45-yarder. and it was still a debate. Like, did Milton Williams get there? Do you consider that a sack, or did he get the ball out on time? So I guess they counted it as Jalen Hurts got the ball off on time. 45-yarder to Devontae Smith. Quinyon Mitchell and Isaiah Rodgers was getting some first team reps. Quinyon Mitchell continues to work in the slot, which is interesting. You know, seem like he's getting that spot over Avonte Maddox, but I told y'all Quinyon is just too good to have on the bench because they've probably figured not this year he won't be the outside, but we got to find a way to get this guy on the field. And I think they're going to have him in the nickel and dime packages a lot. So I'll be watching Quinyon Mitchell heavily. Nolan Smith, Nick Sirianni said in the beginning, Nolan Smith been having a great camp. Back-to-back sacks, just getting off on Fred Johnson, and he was getting to Jalen Hurts, man. So Nolan Smith, he even spoke to the media and said, like, yo, I bulked up a little bit, you know, gained about 7 pounds of muscle, but let me play you this short clip.
So I'd say about 7 pounds of muscle. You know, a lot of people don't know the difference between muscle and fat. You know, you still got to eat right and just put it on slowly. It ain't 10 pounds in a week. It's probably 2 pounds every day. Just kind of stack days with the weight too.
That's cool. That's cool for Nolan Smith, bulking up, doing what he had to do, getting sacks, showing he got it. Because one of the sacks was getting off the edge really quick, but the other one was just pure bull rush. So that lets you know he's getting stronger as well. Trevor Keegan, prayers up to him. He left off the practice field with an arm injury. So prayers up for him. Hopefully Keegan, it's nothing serious. I haven't seen any additional reports to tell me if it's serious or not. So prayers up for him. Tanner McKee making plays, dropping dimes to wide receivers during the developmental, period of the practice. And Tanner McKee continues to show he's that guy. He can lock up at least that QB3 spot. But that's being shown. Like, that was a good draft pick because, I don't really like us drafting quarterbacks too much, but when you do, it's good to have. It's good to have because you never know what can happen. And so far, that QB3 spot seemed like it's his. And now, we could bring up a third option because what the Eagles did during the playoffs against the 49ers to the point they didn't have any quarterbacks. So now you can have 3 quarterbacks, and Tanner McKee so far is locking up that QB3 spot. But that's when practice was over. It was only like an hour and 15 minutes. My thoughts on this is that defense, shout out to the defense. They needed a day. They got the day, but Jalen Hurts continued to make plays still, even with the defense having a good day. But shout out to that D-line. The D-line did work for sure. Isaiah Rodgers made plays. Just the defense in general. But then the offense, guys, names we wasn't really hearing, like Will Shipley making plays. That's good to hear. That, the A.J. Browns and the Devontae Smiths and Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, they going to make plays. But when you hear other names, it's really good. Like Johnny Wilson getting first team reps. That's good to hear. The D-line doing good. Jordan Davis putting a spark on the defensive side of the ball. So that's all the notes for the day. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? CJ Gardner-Johnson going off. Nolan Smith having the best day. What Nick Sirianni had to say about the Jalen Hunts of the world, Patrick Johnson, and even Nolan Smith. And Nolan Smith just having one hell of a day. But this is Eagle Owl, man. I'm a